Steven.
Me.
If there was somebody coming into your home,
Mm-hmm.
would you A, cry like a little bitch?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. First option.
B,
All right. No, hold on. Let me hear the other option. What's the other option? What's B?
B, poorly mishandle a shotgun and have no idea how to load it and pay no attention to how many shots you've shot.
And
Okay. What's C?
shoot the only person in the film that doesn't need to get shot.
Or C, use your brain and maybe leave the house that they're attacking you in because, when you're outside, you're not confined to a space, so you probably have the upper hand.
I'm going to go with D. Put the shotgun barrel in my mouth.
Oh, fourth option.
Can't rob me if I'm dead.
I
That's
believe they
true.
call that kill stealing.
Took my kill, bro. I did I cracked his armor and everything. You took my kill.
I've been scaring this guy all night, and
I'll kill myself. I'll do it. You won't even get to kill me, bro.
I sat on those swings for 3 hours just for the 4 seconds of terror.
I knocked on your door. My knuckles hurt, and you're just going to kill yourself?
Do you know how hard you have to knock on a door to get it to reverberate back into the closet they're hiding in?
I dulled my axe on your front door. You're going to have to pay me for that.
I missed that windshield with 3 other rocks, and now my rotocuff is sore.
At this point, I'm out medical bills. I need a new axe.
I've got physical therapy.
Oh, my God.
I wasn't wearing
And
my
regular
what do they call
therapy,
it? Kinesia tape or whatever. I didn't tape my shoulder for this. My mask is stuffy. Someone was wearing it and tightened it.
My shoes were laced a little too tight.
Oh, my word. Home invasions. What a hilarious topic.
God.
Which just so happens to be the topic of...
Dun, dun, dun.
The stranger.
The stranger.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Can
Hello?
you hear me?
Hold on. Let me hit this
Hello?
button.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello. Welcome to every film in the book. There's a home invasion.
There's somebody in the house, Steve.
Oh my God. I'm gonna just stand here and quietly weep and knock over everything in my path.
I'm just so glad she knew how to use a radio.
Barely.
Okay,
barely.
but they know how to use a ham radio, but he doesn't know how to load a shotgun.
Right? It's like, what kind of Boy Scouts was that?
I'm sorry. Have you not even played a video game?
They show you pretty clearly in Call of Duty. He's racking them shells.
You know where it goes.
Yeah.
This is the only thing about firearms, okay? Every once in a while, I have a big beef with firearms. I'm the firearm guru.
Firearm
over here.
expert Michael.
Firearm expert Michael. We'll start with something I liked about it. And
Okay.
We talked about it earlier. He did shoot a couple rounds.
Yes.
He pumped a couple shells. We were a little angry at him that he didn't rack a shell after he shot his best friend. We'll give him that one, okay?
Yeah, he's
But
a little upset, I guess.
Before he goes outside, he fills the tube back up. I appreciate that. That's good.
Now, as a novice gun person, does that gun only carry 2 shells?
No.
Okay.
So we'll just give a brief rundown of this. Semi-automatic, so it's bottom loaded.
Yeah.
So you load it from the bottom, and then there's the tube under the barrel, which holds all the shells.
Okay.
Most of the time, now this ranges because you can get extensions for it, for like duck guns and things like that. So if you go hunting ducks, you're only allowed to have a certain amount of shells in your gun. So you have to put what's called a duck plug to take up space in that tube, so you can only load like 4 rounds.
Okay.
Without that
right.
tube, you can hold 6 or 8, and depending on the make model,
Yeah, right,
blah, blah,
right,
blah.
yeah.
But you can get extensions and hold like 12, 16 rounds in the tube and
Jesus.
just bang, bang, bang. Those longer tubes are for semi-autos because you can
Right.
chuck more
That would
lead
have helped
faster.
in this situation. 16
Yeah.
shots?
Yeah.
My God.
But
Would've helped.
the good thing, now the bad thing. The good thing, he topped his ammo off. I appreciate that. You never want to go into a gunfight with not full ammo. So he tops it off. That's great. The bad thing is the semi-automatic shotgun. So it's a pump. So it's action fed. Pulling the barrel, you know how you had to put it together?
Yeah.
It's not what you do with semi-autos. brake action, where it actually folds, you can just hit a button and pull the barrels off.
Oh.
A semi-automatic, you're going to have to disengage the receiver because the action is holding.
So there's
tension.
a lot to it.
It was more
Yeah.
than just screwing in a barrel to which that's okay.
Well, thank you, Michael, for your
Yeah.
gun
No, this is
expertise.
good because like now I feel even worse for Scott Speedman because like he knew how to put it together, but he's like, I don't know how to load it.
Right? It's like you
How
did
do I
the
shoot?
hard part. The hardest part of the gun is
Right.
making it work.
What button shoots?
Which button
Press it on the safety.
I keep hitting the button. It's not shooting. And Liv Tyler's just like, this is why I said no. This right here is why I said no.
But this is a very classic. Nobody knows how to survive in a hostile situation story.
Yeah.
And it makes you a little frustrated because you're like,
Yeah.
just
that's
stand up.
That's
What are
part
you
of it.
doing?
Yeah.
That's part of the emotion it gives you is like, if only you weren't in the house. If only you didn't shoot the best friend. If
Yeah.
only you didn't break your leg sprinting. If only,
Well, and it kind of makes you think, like, because, I mean, spoiler alert, none of us have been in a stabbing situation where 3 people have entered our house.
But I feel like I could do better.
Like, I feel like at a certain point, they always tell you fight or flight. Like, at some point, that has to kick in, and you're
Yep.
either leaving as fast as you fucking can,
or you're going after
or,
somebody.
or you're
Yep.
blacking out, and then you're waking up with blood all over your hands like, who did I just kill?
Yeah, and like 90% of this movie, they're just sitting ducks in their house,
Right.
just like getting trapped in different corners.
Now, speaking of sitting ducks, they had the perfect spot in this house to just he had pockets full of shells. He had the lady in the room. He had
Rally
the
around the
shotgun.
family.
Yeah, he was rallying around the family with a pocket full of shells. But like, all right, Michael, you're a friend.
The
No,
the
hold
dead
on.
best friend definitely ruined
No,
the
you're a
zen
friend.
of that room.
But
for
if
him.
Danielle and I were in a closet and 3 people were coming after us and I blasted you in the face, I'll write a note later to your family. But I'm
Right.
going to stay in that closet and have the choke point with a fucking buckshot.
and my dad would go, Steve, you stack bodies at the doorway. Well done.
yes.
He would understand. It's
Yeah.
like, no, stack the bodies in the doorway.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
got-
it's like,
you either have to camp or you have to go.
yeah. You're
If
either
Call of Duty
either
taught me
hunting or
anything.
being hunted.
Yeah.
right. No, like the
Just camping. They were camping the whole movie. It was stupid. They didn't even
would've-
use their grenades or anything.
That would have been a
this
bad
freaking
movie.
spawn camp in Glen Howerton. What the hell?
I don't know why he took lightweight if he's not going to move the whole round. Took the wrong perks for the setup. Gee whiz.
Seriously.
Oh my god.
No, but like most horror films, and this one I think did a really good job of. We don't really care what's going on
Right.
with them. We just want to see them die, which is like not the greatest sentence I've ever said in my life. but it
We want to
definitely
see them suffer.
It's like we're here for the killing.
Yeah.
So they kind of get right into it, and they definitely, coming, they establish that they're a couple and they're in love, and they're at a wedding, an amorous event, and he carries her off and proposes to her, and then that's all we see. It's just not happy afterwards. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, because I think that is like we're thinking, oh my word, they just got engaged. They're gonna be just in the tub,
2 peas in
getting
a
all
pod.
Well-
sudsy, and then this happens, and then it completely subverts it with, oh, I think she said no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
they
he
do.
looks kind of pissed.
They do a really good job of telling you through their emotions when they're walking into the cabin that something is wrong.
Yeah.
And then when they cut back to the proposal scene, it makes you go, "Oh, okay, she
Yeah,
said
okay.
no."
A lot
She
of
said no.
huffing and puffing
I
from
do-
Scott Speedman.
I do like this is one of the rare films where most not horror films, but a lot of times it's the guy's fault. He did it. We
Yeah.
hate the guy. But in this one, it's like I kind of feel bad for him because
Yeah.
they walk in and you see the candles are out and there's
The rose
petals
petals.
everywhere and they have champagne and
Ice cream.
Bluebell ice
It's-
cream.
it's
and
just awkward and-
yeah, it's just weird. But you're like, oh man, he put a lot of work into this.
Yeah.
He picked a secluded moment at a whatever.
And he seems like
a
a nice guy who's taking care of her the whole time. Like he's
until he
never
starts gaslighting.
Yeah, he does.
Are you sure there's someone trying to kill us? I don't believe you. Calm down. Stop.
But I mean, that's all the story we really get, and that's all the story we need.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
there's no secondary plot. There's no anything else.
Right.
And I like that it's
Yeah,
very
I
simple.
like that this is a contained, like, that's it. There's
it's very linear.
Yeah.
And I hate and movies do this all the time. They have two stories going and they get to a climactic event and then they cut to the boring part of the other thing and then that gets to a climactic event. Then they show you the results of what happened that you missed because you were watching. We wanted
so they didn't do that.
They didn't do that, which is great.
No, and it was great because I remember watching this movie, as a kid, and this
Is
like
it that
would-
old?
Yeah, this is 2008. Well, I mean, I guess I wasn't a kid, but
You were a kid.
younger.
Almost an adult.
Yeah, but
A young teenager.
Yeah, but like
2008, you were-
just the premise of this movie is it's scary. Like just the idea of people coming into your house and then their only motive is, well, you were home and we were bored. We have these nice new knives. We really got to try them
We
out.
actually use your kitchenware. It's actually higher quality than ours.
Yeah, no. See,
But I love that. How there's like, 4 sentences that the killers say?
Yeah.
You never see their face. They interact very little with each other. I think that's my favorite part is, because, I mean, this movie's been out for a while. you find out at the end.
Spoiler alert.
Like they're a family, you know what I mean? They're kind of teaching the daughter the ropes of the stat. This is how you create terror
now
and
you're
have a
gonna
little
want to
fun.
hold your arm at a 45-degree angle and really get it in there.
She did chicken winger.
Yeah, did you see it? It was just like
It was her first time.
all right, good point.
But that's cool because you're like, even at the end of the film, you're like, oh no, they were just. It'll be easier next time. Like,
That was just
that was her first time.
Yeah,
They've been doing this for years. This is crazy,
just an average Saturday night with the
right?
the stranger's family.
But I like the lack of, because a lot of times if there's more than one killer, like in the Scream series,
yes,
there's always that back
Yeah.
and forth, and the one killer has like well, we want to do it this way. Well, you fucked that up. Blah, blah, blah. There's always that kind of
Right.
jawing back and forth, and there's absolutely nothing. And you can see the older two, they kind of work as a team really well. The one guy's in the woods, the other one's behind her, so their target's always between them.
right.
Which is, from a tactical standpoint.
yeah, and like if
that's
this
mint
is
right there,
yeah,
baby.
like if this is their first time doing it, this is how you do
Well,
your first murder.
bringing
I
her
guess.
along.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Well, I'm assuming too that it was like, she's younger. She was probably just watching the whole
Right.
time or like not actually fully involved in the
Yeah.
killing.
And
but
practice is always different than performance.
yeah, because she was so calm. Like it has to be normal for their family.
And so
I think her childhood might have had to do with that.
now, I guess we should say. So I kind of wanted to do this just because that prequel is coming out. So from what I'm seeing in the trailer so far, it's the same 3 people. So like this is like it's called Chapter 1. Surprise, surprise. But I guess it covers their like first string of murders. So I guess like maybe it'll be cool to see if like the younger
It'll be
person,
cool to see where they put her. for
yeah,
sure.
if she's just kind of like background and she's just kind of running perimeter, and it's like, hey, you don't get to kill yet. You haven't earned your like your medal on your chest
Right.
yet.
You didn't have your quinceañera yet, so you didn't get to.
Quinceañera. That's like all serial killers. They need a quinceañera.
You didn't go through your bat mitzvah
Yeah.
yet.
But
You're not of age
it,
yet.
it will be cool if it's like if it's Chapter 1. It should be just the 2 of them starting.
Yeah, like the
before they
dad
have-
and
the mom and dad. I think that would be kind of cool. But then also, like, I wouldn't mind seeing how they started a family. Like, I don't know if that's weird, but like it'd be like, well, what did the killers do in their spare time? That's
They're
just
like
my-
at home doing the crossword puzzle, and they're just like, honey, you feel like killing tonight? Nah, babe. All right.
All right.
He just goes back
Maybe
to his
tomorrow.
cross.
How are the urges for you? I'm about halfway to when we need to do
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I'm a
Let's
little
plan
Nancy.
something for the next couple of months. Maybe the next business quarter.
But like it is one of those things where this movie was so good of a concept on its own that like will a prequel kind of ruin the mystery of the killers?
I mean, I will say the second one kind of ruined it.
I
Like I don't know if you remember much of the second one, but it took it out of we're just in a home and you just happen to be there when 3 killers come and knock at your door. They expanded it
they
and
pulled
put
the
them
camera back.
in a wider area. And like in the second one, they're in a trailer park. There's so many places to hide in a trailer park. It does not make sense to move them into like a wider area.
Right.
Like keep them
that
in a
might have been
suburban neighborhood.
You know, we've been doing it a while. Let's challenge ourselves. You know, it could have been like, all right, let's take the difficulty up to hard now.
Yeah. Well, I
but
mean,
that is funny that last line of it'll be easier next time is you kind of go back and go, yeah, it was kind of sloppy.
Yeah,
it was kind of sloppy. They got out of the house a couple times. You know, there's just some things that could have gone a little tighter.
Right.
You know what I mean? They could have kept it a little tighter.
Yeah. See, they didn't have like a planner or anything.
No,
they just kind of went into it cold turkey.
They threw the clipboard in the woods and the plan was out the window. From
You know what? We're not going to use our checklist today. We're just going to have fun, see what happens.
Be stationed at back door. Fuck! I knew I forgot something.
I missed item 9. Dang it.
Yeah, like I would have loved in the sequel if they're actually going through. Okay, so what did we fuck up last movie? Okay, all right. So they got out of the house. Okay, so we're gonna put locks on the doors.
We're gonna barricade it.
We only wrote hello 17 times on the windows, and we should have done.
It really just didn't have the effect we were looking for. Yeah. We're gonna need to write it elsewhere in the home too. So if she doesn't go in that room, we can still get the same effect.
Right.
Yeah, but like, oh shit, what was I gonna say?
Well, I'll fill the space of thought. It's kind of that it gives you that feeling that the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre does, where you're like, how can a family be so fucked up to do this?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's like exactly what's portrayed with how they set up this like, family dynamic. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's like you can clearly tell that they have no remorse, they have no emotion about it.
Pretty chill about it the whole time.
This is just a weekend activity for their family.
And like
they were home.
Yeah, exactly.
They were home. Why not?
It's such a creepy thing. Like it wouldn't have been so bad if they were just like, oh, we were jealous of how happy you guys were. Or,
right.
Oh, we murder married couples. It was just, nah, you guys just happen to be home.
You guys were just here.
Yeah. Like
we're trying to train our daughter in murder, so
like there's something so unsettling about like at least with like Jason, it's like, oh, you came to my woods, now you're dead. Like
it's like you're in his territory.
Yeah,
okay.
You came to his woods, now he's gonna kill you. They came to you and they were just like, oh sweet, these guys are home. These guys are home. Honey, we got victims.
Yeah, it's a little Michael Myers where he just kills. You know, he has no reason.
Yeah, there's
nothing. Just
and
violence.
Then, until they fucking added the whole family thing. It's like, I'm gonna kill my family. It's like, no, just kill the babysitters. They're terrible at their jobs. Kill them.
Now, to like at the start of the film, it is kind of neat that she gets some time in the house by herself.
Yeah.
To get all worked up about it, and then he comes in. So she gets to 9.9.
Yeah.
And he comes in at 0.
Gaslights her for the next half hour.
Until everything that happened to her happened to him. So there was some cool spots in it, like
the one scene is my absolute favorite when she's just standing there smoking the cigarette and the dad walks in behind her and
it's a classic.
He's just standing there. I'm like,
a classic.
Like
he literally got chills.
Yeah,
I get
chills.
It was kind of funny.
Like it's so creepy because it's like there's just a dude watching you.
And what's funny is it happens in so many movies.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just the whole time it's like,
you see that right there?
I'm seeing this. Are you seeing this? Because he looks like he's murdering.
Yeah.
And like I love when they put like, I mean they call him Baghead in the fucking IMDb page. It's a stupid name for your killer, Baghead. But he's But like the way they film him when he's out of focus, that mask is so fucking creepy because it's like the big dark eyes and like the like poorly drawn smile.
Yep.
Like it
is a little scarecrowy with because they use that what do they call those? The potato sacks.
Yeah.
Burlap.
Burlap.
That's what I was looking for.
We live in Amish country, and you don't
You
know
should
burlap.
know that.
I'm an immigrant. Leave me alone.
All right, good point.
Leave me alone, Steve. I immigrated.
Canadian.
Maple syrup.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thanks.
Let me put it in terms you would understand. Like,
So when he was wearing the maple syrup,
Oh, the burlap mask. Oh, okay. Now I'm following you. Yeah.
Why didn't you just say?
We can actually continue in the film now because
Oh my god.
we've gone past that hurdle.
But yeah, sorry, not to interrupt you. Keep going.
Like she's able to get, so it takes the audience to attend because we're like, oh my word, does he come back and find her dead? Does you know,
Right.
And that's the, one of the neat things is the very start. At the very start, they kind of make you think this is a true story, like verbatim, by having the text come up and then the voiceover,
the creepy narrator.
And on this show, we've complained about some movies that have done it and then wished other movies had, because it's like, we started this with no information. We needed a backstory for this character to fit. But this one, it was kind of like, is this documentary? Is this... Because they kind of did it documentary, like the warning, the story you're about to see, and it's like actor portrayal in the bottom. It's like, it's like kind of one of those things. But so they go from that, and they kind of show the end scene. They pan around, you see the petals and the blood, and then
we get a phone call
see
from the little boy
record player, which became a part of it, and then they pan up and there's a shotgun on the counter. So you see a lot of the things in the film right off the gate, and then they kind of go into it. But they take the audience with her up to a 10, then he comes in at a 0, and I don't think any of us, and I've seen this movie a bunch, but it still pisses me off. It's like, that's the one person you picked out of 7 billion and change to like trust and be faithful. It's like, that's your person.
To her hours ago,
right? It's like, okay,
But when she's clearly in distress and bawling her eyes out,
like,
and looks like she's seen a guy in a bag face,
he tells her to stop. I need you to stop.
No one has been in this house.
It's like, even if I don't know you, if you come up to me, it's like, someone's trying to kill me. I'm like,
where
are they?
Who?
Show me.
Show me what's going on.
I'll kill them first.
Like, you're gonna believe that person. It's like, all right, that's a little weird. And then,
like, especially she's crouched in a bedroom with a knife,
right?
And like, clearly things have been fucked up in the house, and he's just like, babe, what you drinking
doing?
champagne?
Right?
Would you get ice cream drunk? Oh, you fucking knocking stuff over? What the hell?
Get the dairy delirium.
Yeah, my God.
That
dairy
delirium.
That's good.
But so it kind of pisses you off, and you're like, hey, bro, why don't you pay attention to your woman here? She needs some help, and you're being a dick.
Like, he reminds me of the boyfriend in the first Paranormal Activity, when clearly there's ghost activity in the house, and he's like, babe, you're just being fucking dumb. There's no such thing as
even
ghosts.
though it's like waking her up and dragging her off the bed. Like,
and he's like, no, don't worry, babe. I'll take care of it with my fists. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it's the typical gaslighting boyfriend character.
Yeah, who's like, I'm so fucking tough. What
And
are they
then-
going to do,
You
kill
must
us?
just be crazy because you're a woman.
but it takes him to be like, his phone gets taken just like hers, and then
his
He's like,
car's
"Wait a
all,
minute."
His
And then-
car's all smashed up. He's like checking for his phones. The lady taps him on the back, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of here! I got a knife."
now that it's happening to me, the alpha
Now
male
it's-
kicks in.
now it's okay.
Yeah, now
And
it's
they do a decent job at the start, because one of the first things they do when he finally takes her word for it is, get in that room with the one entrance and just point a shotgun at it. Tons of we can't say this enough. That is what we wished people in horror films would be doing since 1915. You know what I mean? And they never do it. They have a shotgun, and they're holding a long barrel weapon at the ground as they go around a corner. It's like, okay, you can't get that up and be useful. So like, you're not even in a tactical position. They
were ready.
bunker themselves in. That's great. We still have to do some murdering to get the film to move along.
Yeah. Because, like, again, there's only one hallway leading to where they were hiding. So it's like, there's only one way in, one way out. And
close the doors, sit at the back of the hallway, sit in the closet, do whatever.
Like,
But yeah, it really just it makes you say, no, don't do that. When they get up, they leave the room, and you're like, no, don't.
So like, it worked.
Yeah, it's
it
great
worked.
because it elicits a response from its audience and be like, dude, what the hell are you doing? I wouldn't have done that.
And they even proved it worked by just dome shotting the best friend that comes early. How convenient.
He didn't even take half a second to look to see who was coming down the hallway. He just immediately blasted him.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and
I'd have been blasted.
I got to be honest, this is on the best friend.
He didn't make his presence
He should have
known.
made it. If he at any point was just like, hey, James.
Yo, what up?
Hello, I'm here.
Don't shoot me.
James, you here?
But
Is everything okay, bud?
He walked into a kind of like the door was
Yeah, the
messed
door's
up, and
open.
I think he picks the axe off the porch, so like he knows something's going down, and the music is playing. Okay, well the music stops, and he still doesn't. He's like, "What do you do?" Blam.
Yeah, and the whole time the one killer's walking behind him, and like at no point you just go,
Nah.
what are you doing back there?
At all. Not at all.
And he stops in the hallway before he gets to the door, and he's just kind of like pausing.
He stops
there.
like 3 times in this hallway.
And he just kind of stands there, and I'm like, dude, say something. Like, do anything to make your presence known, to try
weird.
Look around, like what is going on.
And like, I get it. Walking into a strange situation, you don't know what's going on. Maybe you don't want your presence known, but at least when you first get into the house, just be like, James, and then like run off to the side and like hide. And
James.
just be like,
Hello,
and
you here, James?
Throw your voice so they can't find out
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you are.
everybody's a trained ventriloquist.
It's like, I need this to sound like I'm coming from the front of the house, yelling over the roof.
Yeah.
Nah, but he does. I mean, and we proved that works, and I think them, the filmmakers showing the best friend walking, were like, oh no,
Yeah.
it's gonna work, and it doesn't work on the killers. Oh
Yeah.
no, and at the same time, like that's kind of cool because I imagine the family who's trying to teach their daughter how to murder. Dad getting shot in the head with a shotgun probably wasn't in their plan for the evening.
Yeah, they're like, we'll let the best friend go in.
Yep.
And then while they're distressed, that's when we'll all pick it up from there.
On one hand, you're like, well, why didn't they just run in and grab them then? But on the other hand, it was like they clearly were trying to make them terrified for as long as possible.
Yeah. They're playing with their food.
Yeah,
before
they're playing with their food. So it's like, okay, wow, that would have been a perfect thing to come up and bonk them both on the head and then, cut to the end scene of them tied in chairs. It was a game to them. They weren't done having fun yet.
Yeah.
And the movie wasn't like
Right, it was
halfway
only
over
like
yet.
3/4
so.
done.
Yeah, it
at that
didn't hit
point,
90
so.
minutes yet.
Nah,
Yeah.
not yet.
Actually, this one's pretty short. It's only an hour and
Yep.
20 after all is said and done. And we watched the extended version.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The extended version gave us a
Now-
whole extra minute.
So from what I remember, the only thing they add to the extended version is Liv Tyler screaming at the end and grabbing the kid's hand.
Really?
From what I remember from watching the older version,
Yeah,
that's the only part I don't remember is her
Yeah.
screaming and grabbing the kid's hand.
I think they might have lengthened the where they're driving away and
Oh, yeah.
the boy walking in the house. I feel like they did they gave a little extra time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The last 5 minutes was kind of the only place that was a noticeable. This could have been different than the
Yeah,
original.
because I swear this was a quick like hour 15.
But they didn't. And how many times have we been disappointed by a horror movie with this similar kind of premise, and we're like, just kill him. Just kill him. It's been an hour and 50 minutes. Just kill him. Like this is just so much time in between nothing happening.
Yeah, it was really the perfect length to
Yep.
tell the story, and we didn't get bored. It didn't feel too short, too long. It was just kind of like
There was
perfect.
enough pauses to have some commentary during the movie. We were like, why are they doing that?
Yeah.
Like, oh my word,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
getting the radio to work. This is crazy.
Because like there was this one movie, I think it was called Hush, but it's the same premise. But it's a deaf girl.
Yep.
And a home invader comes in, but like again, it's not straightforward. They give her like survivalist tactics, and she has this inner monologue that's like describing the situation and what she needs to do and all this stuff. I'm like, that doesn't help the movie really.
Nope.
Like
Also, picking on deaf girls kind of stupid.
yeah,
That's kind of low brow there.
exactly. But it's one of those things where this kept it so simple that it was like you don't need any extra explanation.
Nah.
I don't have any questions after the movie. I'm not like thinking to myself,
Yeah.
oh man, what do you think would have
wonder,
happened if
what happened to the 3 people they gave 15 minutes of screen time that we never saw after that? There's no,
Yeah.
it was very,
it's
not a lot of fat on this movie.
yes, exactly.
Not a lot of fat on
I
it.
was thinking
Trademark.
that as we were watching this,
Trademark.
I'm like, Michael's going to say there's
There's
not a lot of fat on this movie.
Yeah. I think you should just trademark that at
Yeah.
this point. It's like you're
it's
saying.
too broad of a phrase. I looked into it.
But yeah,
Damn.
no, and like I don't know. I like our 2 main characters, and I think they at least have something going for them. But
Right.
the fact that Scott Speedman kind of gets knocked out like 40 minutes into this, and then the last like half hour is
Especially because she spends a decent time by herself while he's going to get her cigarettes.
Yeah.
They could have. I
They
think
could
they
have
could have
given
had
him a moment.
little more. Yeah. He didn't. But the other thing is, like, she didn't give him his moment, so he doesn't even get one in the dying part.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
That's true.
you know, she said no. I guess we don't need to see much of him.
But it also puts you in that situation where you assume that he is a little bit more equipped. He has the shotgun,
Right.
and he at least has taken a shot,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
even though it was his best friend.
He's tried really good.
She has only crawled around on the floor and cried. So
And broke her leg.
yeah. So they want to show you the character who's like least equipped
for
to
sure.
fight them, to make you feel that like stress.
Yeah,
So I
'cause,
think
like-
that's why they give her the most screen time.
Yeah, and like I'll say it for the second one, there's a lot more fighting of the strangers.
Right.
Like I think one kid hits the younger one with a golf
there's-
club or
Yeah, there's
something.
a bunch of different little
yeah, and like
bumps.
you know, I think the second one has like a family of 4 that they're going after, and it's something where like I think with that many more people, like they knock off the parents real quick, and then it's just the kids trying to survive, and
Right.
then it's kind of like you're rooting for the kids because you're like, well, your parents fucking suck, so
Yeah,
you
murdering-
better step up. But like with this, like there's
don't kill the children.
yeah, but it's one of those things where in this one it's kind of like, well, once Scott's out of there and you're just left with Liv Tyler, you're kind of like, well, you're fucked. Like,
Yeah.
you're not getting out of this.
I think you kind of know that.
Yeah, like
because
you
of-
know it going into
you
it.
know it, but then
just
you're
based
like,
on that
oh, she's
opening
really,
scene.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. That doesn't ruin it at all.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot of horror films that you can only watch once because they show you what happens at the start, and then when you see it happen, you go, that took all the magic out of it, and now
Yeah.
it's not rewatchable.
Right,
I
right.
hate that.
Yeah, but this one is definitely a good enough base of a story, and it's still captivating enough that like it
Yeah.
doesn't
Like,
ruin
it's
it.
entertaining.
Yeah.
16 years later, we're doing an episode on it.
Yeah.
But this, for sure, I don't know. I feel like on my personal favorite list, I have more like the icons, like, you know, Michael Myers and, you know, those type
Yeah.
of things.
Those are
But
more slasher. This is more like
this is like story driven
Yeah.
to a point. It's
Yeah, to a point.
story driven. But this definitely for me, I know this is one of the, because that was like when I was first starting to get into horror films, and they were actually making ones that weren't like,
Terrible.
oh, it's a hysterical white lady running from a man chasing her. This movie's been made 74 times in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
So this was definitely one of them that, because I watched this one when it came out,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, well, that was kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And think about how many more horror movies there've been in the last, 16 years.
Right.
That's a lot of movies after it, and a lot of them don't have that same effect that one does on me. And even I've seen this movie a lot, and even watching it again, it's just like, this is a good. It's
Yeah.
It's very basic.
yeah,
Like there's not a lot of fluff. There's not a lot of frills.
not a lot of fat.
Not a lot of fat. And even not even so much fat of like unusable dialogue or
Yeah.
just kind of just junk that they filled to pad the runtime. It was just everything kind of fit.
Yeah.
It kind of
No,
fit
it's great.
well. They don't linger too much in the woods. They don't, they're not in the same place in the house, because there's some horror films that literally take place once the action starts. It's like you're in that room
Yeah.
the rest of the
That's
film.
all you get.
And that's
Yeah.
all you get. But this was definitely, almost 20 years ago, this was one of them that it was like, all right, they understood what makes a good horror film.
Yeah.
And I think they did it pretty well, and it still holds up all these years later,
Right.
even with all these hundreds of movies that have come out afterwards.
And one of the things that I especially liked about how the way they filmed it was they used darkness to hide faces or to make their characters disappear in plain sight, but it wasn't dark the whole time
Yep.
like a lot of
Right.
movies are these days.
That's
Yeah.
a very good
How
point.
many movies have we watched where like
If
if
they
they just turned
turned
up
the
the
lights
brightness, I would be able to at least understand why my character is scared,
Yeah.
but I can't fucking see, so I don't care.
It's
But
like-
we saw everything that was important, and what wasn't like shown was
Right.
purposeful, and it wasn't just dark to be dark.
and,
Right.
and then like the power cuts at one point,
And we can still see their faces.
and we can
oh my
still
God.
see. And then the power comes back on, and we could just see better.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not like
But
it's not like they give you that bright like 3 seconds of like, oh, the lights came on, and then it just dims back down,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, back to I think that they're in the living room. Maybe I can't tell because I have no reference
Yeah.
point.
But I
Even
mean-
when we're in the dark woods, you
Yeah.
can still see.
But I mean, like, even what you were saying about, like, the dialogue, like, there's nothing in there that I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, why are we fucking talking about this? And, like,
I think there was like a maximum of like 4 sentences in a row
yeah.
before the camera angle changed.
Yeah, because it was mainly, like, Scott and Liv just being like, hey, man, it sucks that you said no. I'll go get you some cigarettes. And then when he comes back, it's like, oh, man, this, you're crazy. It sucks. And it's like, cool. That's all you really need. And then the rest of the dialogue is just them being like, all right, we have to go out here.
Yep.
We have to do this. We
Yep.
have to do that. And that's it.
Honestly, during a home invasion, probably not too many casual conversations going on.
Yeah, it's
Probably
like,
not.
hey, we're
Probably
going
not.
for dinner later.
It's like, did you put the ice cream away? Because it's gonna leave a ring on the wooden table.
Do you want to go get brunch
Hey,
tomorrow?
babe, did you pay the power bill? I can't remember if we paid the power bill yet.
The lights cut out earlier, and I'm just wondering if that's your fault.
Yeah, I'm like, did you not pay it, or did the strangers cut the power?
don't
Because I could go either way right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. And they didn't even cut it; they just flipped a breaker.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Easy peasy. Lights can come
Easy
back
peasy.
on.
But now this for sure definitely goes on. I don't know how many lists I've said I've had by this point, but it's definitely up there. But it's different. Like it's very different than a Hereditary
Yeah.
or
Well, it's scary, but in a realistic sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Hereditary's scary because it plays on like the supernatural, and it plays
Yep.
on the stuff we do not
and
understand.
this is
Yeah.
very much that's 3 people
Mm-hmm.
coming to murder them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like that's again what makes this so good on rewatching. Like I've seen this probably
A
20,
bunch.
30 times,
A bunch.
but I still get chills at that scene of him standing behind her. Like it's something so unsettling about somebody uninvited in your house just playing with you.
Yep.
Yeah. And it puts you in that moment, and it makes you feel like, well, this is what I would do if I was in that situation. And, then you start thinking about
Right.
it.
It's
and
the classic turn around.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just turn
He's right
around.
behind you.
Just turn around.
Like the amount of conversations I had with my friends back in like high school being like, okay, so how would you survive the strangers?
Right?
Like as we're watching it, we're like, okay, well, you have the perfect bedroom.
Yeah.
If we hide behind your bed and have the shotgun at the door, they can't really come in and get us. And they can't climb up your back wall to like reach your
There's
window.
a brick wall behind us. No way they're busting through that.
Yeah.
I think the best part of this film is that
Yeah.
you think you might be able to do better.
Right.
Realistically speaking, probably not.
No, you're probably
But
going to be scared
at the,
shitless.
At the same time, it's like you can relate to this movie as a human because there's all been times where something's gone bump in the dark, and then you're just immediately just like, what was oh my word, and
Yeah.
it turns out to be nothing. But this is something that's like these are people. It's a realistic situation. It's not a monster. It's not a
an
devil.
unstoppable killing machine.
It's not a demon someone accidentally summoned at a slumber party. It's like they're just people coming to kill other people, and they don't want to get killed.
Yeah.
But they're also not good at not getting killed
Right.
because most people don't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the teaching at the end, like the last like 7 or 8 minutes, you're like,
This is
Whoa,
uncomfortable.
this is kind of this is
it's
not
very-
okay.
yeah, it's-
they shouldn't be allowed to teach their daughter this.
Just uncomfortable, and it's one of those like, it's not super over the top gruesome. They're not chopping off body parts.
Yeah, no, they don't show you the knife going in or anything like that.
Well, they do a little
like
bit,
they
but
kind of
like,
cut like
they cut.
yeah.
up
Obviously, they show you like them
yeah.
going
Right.
for it, but they always just focus on Scott.
But it
and
was-
Liv
it was
as
more
they're reacting to
Them
it.
together,
Right.
realizing that. I mean, she probably should have said yes, but it wouldn't have changed the outcome of that evening.
Yeah.
Right.
But you kind of think about that a little bit.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, they're starting to realize that they don't have time to like be petty, because she says, "I'm not ready."
Right.
She says, "I'm not ready
Like,
to get
yeah.
married. I'm just not ready yet." And it's like, you
Well-
only got 6 hours.
Right.
Clock is ticking on
Yeah.
your life.
Clock's
so.
ticking here.
Right.
So
And, like,
yeah, at least they have that like final moment together, and it makes it extra sad.
As they get stabbed together.
Oh my
They're
God.
holding hands, saying "I love you."
It's-
Don't stab me.
It's just one of those things. It's just so uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
And I'll give it to Liv Tyler. I don't think she's a good actress, but I think she gave a great performance at the end here where you believed it.
Yep.
Like that's gut wrenching.
And even
Yeah.
even at the start, it's a little punky kind of with the
Yeah.
acting, but you're like, there's some tension there. That looks
Yeah.
and you're like, I'm uncomfortable. And then at the end of the film, you're uncomfortable for a different reason. My favorite part about this movie is that even in the middle of nowhere, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, you got to do your year of door knocking or whatever
Gotta
your
do it.
service year. I forget what they call it in
Yeah.
that faith, but it's like those two poor kids that just have to ride around the middle of nowhere with bicycles, asking people if they're sinners. And that's also something that, almost 20 years ago is very relatable.
yeah.
Now, I don't know if if they're slacking off as a faith.
I think they do it online now.
It's probably
Yeah.
probably
They do it online.
it's like everything.
It's a quick email.
evolved.
Yeah.
It's evolved with technology, but like that used to be a thing when we were teenagers.
It was always, is that a Jehovah Witness at the door? Yeah, tell
That's
him to go away.
That's a huge running joke for everyone in America. I'm sure there's things like that around the world, but
Yeah.
everybody can relate to that. But they've never been in the situation of walking into a house full of murdered people
Yeah, into a
before. So
murder
you're like,
scene.
the poor kids.
Yeah.
It's like whatever you think of Jehovah's Witness, you're like, that's a rough way to start your morning of
yeah.
faith spreading.
It's like after
Sorry,
Liv
but-
Tyler starts screaming, it's like, "Are you a sinner?
Are you a sinner?
I have this
I
pamphlet
thought
for
he
you."
was going to leave a pamphlet next to her.
Because he still had him in his hand.
Yeah.
But that is just an extra level of creepy as they pull away in the truck as a family with successful murdering behind them. They stop the Jehovah Witness boys to get a pamphlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
Can
you
I
a
have one of
sinner?
those?
Yeah, 'cause it-
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Because it almost makes you feel like, do they have remorse? No, they're just fucking with these kids.
Yeah,
right?
or they're just like trying to be part of the community,
Yeah, like make
Yeah.
them seem normal. But again, they're also
driving away from a murder
They're
scene.
also driving with a shattered windshield and a smashed in
Yep.
front of their truck because the younger one used it to smash up Scott's
Smash
car.
the car.
So it's like, maybe the kids should have been like, "Whoa, hey."
Well, and the other thing is they were home and those boys were there.
Yeah, I mean, it would have. It's interesting because it's
They were
like
just
if
there,
They, if
see
they
what- see
didn't
what's going
show up, like when would they have found this murder scene?
I don't know.
It was the family home of this.
Right.
Yeah,
Guy.
Somebody,
yeah, it
was, somebody was
somebody
calling
would've-
Mike's
It was her
phone,
dad.
so
Yeah.
somebody would have looked for
Yeah.
him,
Yeah,
but it would have been a couple days, probably.
Yeah.
yeah. They would have been rotted by then.
I don't know.
Pretty stinky in that house.
Yeah. Well, all the doors were open.
Oh, well, see, that's good. They thought about that. Air it out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's what they were going for.
at least they're courteous strangers.
Right.
Actually, if they were courteous, they would have closed the door. What were they raised in a barn?
Right. That door was kind of messed up. Put an axe through it. But nah, it's just one of those good ones.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
just
not
one of
much
those,
to say
like, oh,
other
what are-
than it's good.
Hey, you know any scary movies? People ask me. They're like, you're a movie guy. Name some good scary movies. It's like this is one of them that I tell people. It's like
It'll make you feel creepy.
this is a creepy one, and
Yeah.
it's not. And for like entry level horror people.
Yeah, this is a great start.
No matter who you are and what you believe and what your morals are, there's I don't think there's swearing. Like there's
a
no
couple fucks.
There's no rough language. There's no nudity. There's no sex scenes. It's like a clean cut movie about murder.
Yeah.
Like it's really clean.
Right.
So like you
Until
could
the
give this
murder.
to anyone in a very wide age group, and they'd be like, "That was nuts."
Yeah. And it's just not relatable, but it's a scenario you could put yourself in, and it's like this is creepy. I don't want people in my house that I didn't invite in here. Like it's just a creepy situation.
The last thing is I like the masks. The masks were cool. The girls got their girl masks. The dad got the burlap sack. So it's like he spent all the mask budget on his wife and daughter and was like, oh, crap, I got to make something. Do you have any rough pillowcases?
Or maybe it's like he had something, but from his last murder, it got
all messed up. Or that was his father's
That's actually
mask.
a good point, because if you notice, the bag is turned inside out.
Yep.
So maybe he got it all fucked up in,
So he had to
in
flip
chapter
it.
1, so now he's got to flip it.
Did you forget to wash my mask? We were doing the murdering this weekend.
I told you to get this dry cleaned.
I can't focus if I smell the other kills we have.
That's why he was wheezing so hard, because it's like all the extra fumes of like
Well,
his past murder.
He might have been teaching because he didn't have much time left. And he wanted to pass his skills down. But, they
Yeah.
did
Could've
come out
been
with a second
older.
movie that didn't touch on that at all.
At
so
all.
whatever.
Yeah. You don't get
But
any
the-
backstory for the strangers.
What I like about that is a classic movie trope is they've seen our faces.
Gotta kill him.
We got to kill them. And,
It's usually
movie-
an action thing.
Yeah,
but
it's an action movie thing where it's like, no, you've seen my face. It's like, oh, geez, they're going to die. But this one, they take off their masks. They only reveal them to who they're murdering.
Mm-hmm.
And us as the audience, we don't get to see them.
because
Yeah.
they're
We
not
just-
murdering
We
us,
just see them
so.
start. And yeah, we're not getting stabbed. So we get to see them revealing themselves, but we don't get to see them. And
Yeah.
I really appreciated
I
that.
do
Yeah.
enjoy that, because like even in that last shot when they're talking to the two little
You
kids,
still can't.
and like they're clearly visible, and like you can get like a silhouette of the blonde girl's
But that's
face.
it.
You get the younger lady standing on the side of the truck, but you don't see anything of the dad but his like big bushy eyebrows.
Right? And that's
And
it.
I think the main reason they do that is because they don't want to show any emotion of the killers at
Yeah,
all.
no.
They don't want you to have any like feeling about
Right.
them. They're just supposed to be like emotionless.
And that's what I'll
beings.
say against the second one. They show the faces
Mm.
like in frame and clear as day, and it's just it
hard to-
ruins the illusion.
Mm.
But I mean, I don't want to like spoil how the second one ends, but it doesn't really matter at the end.
No.
But
Not at
the
all.
same time, it's like you take away what made this so scary, because like at the end of Jason, it's like, oh, we just know it was a little boy who drowned in a lake. Michael Myers, he was a little kid who snapped one day. Like,
Yep.
but with these guys, it's like you don't know their face.
We have no
You
idea.
don't know their motivation. You don't know where they came from, why they do what they do, how many people they've murdered. You just know, hey, they just happen to show up on the
And-
wrong night.
Yep. Yeah, they were home.
Yeah, it's ugh.
And I don't know. They were home.
Yeah.
So if you're home,
Watch out.
we're coming for
Lock
you.
your doors.
We're coming for you.
I mean,
Hold
there's
on, let me
3
put
of
on these
us.
masks.
Right? Yeah,
Oh
hold
crap!
on.
They've seen. Well, you've seen our faces.
Now we got to come murder you all.
We'll be in
sorry.
your house this evening.
Disclaimer: we will not actually be in your house.
No, they won't. I will be in your house this evening.
Yeah,
but yeah,
tell the
any
cops that.
any final thoughts for you guys?
It's not a rarity. There's a lot of good movies, but it's one of those that the farther back you go, the more holes are in the film, and you realize that like after 20 years, this doesn't hold up. This is one you can go back to, and it's like it's not the best acting, it's not the best music, it's not the best story, it's not the best dialogue, it's not the best this, that, and the other thing, but you can see the whole time. It's creepy. It's relatable. And they do murder.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of movies where they make them out more sinister than their actions, or
Yeah.
their actions are just way too crazy.
Yeah.
You're like, well, you said he had a troubled past. And now that there's 17 people in his freezer. It's like, how do we go that far? This all stays kind of
Yeah.
good. And it holds up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about
I like that we really are just shown literal strangers. We know nothing about them, and we don't see their faces. I think that's such like an iconic like point of this movie.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it was great. I watched it a couple years ago, probably.
I'm sure we watched it.
Didn't really remember it, but this time watching it again, it was definitely worth the watch.
Yeah,
it's rewatchable. That's a key. Is a lot of horror films just aren't. And this one, it's like I hadn't seen it for a little while, but I was like, man, this is good.
I think they do suspense right. They don't show a whole lot of violence, really.
No jump scares.
No, the jump scares. I hate when movies do too many jump scares.
Yep.
This was.
I like it when
good.
we see the character getting jump scared, but we're not getting jump scared. Like when she touches his back and he freaks out, it's like we got to watch the whole thing.
Yes,
it wasn't like
a loud violin screech
right,
and fucking yeah. It was like cool. We're seeing the actor react,
and
it's what they're getting paid for.
Yeah, it's
they're
like,
acting. Wow.
They're actually doing it.
But yeah, no, and I mean, I still freaking love this movie. Like I remember showing this to every one of my friends.
Everybody
when I
who
first
would
saw
watch it.
And like, you know, it's like I said earlier, like it still holds up. I still get chills from this movie, and like, you know,
that says
for
something.
like for the amount of horror movies I've sat through, and this gives me chills.
Yeah,
like come on.
Well, it's weirdly simple, and that weird simplicity is so effective.
Yeah, I think it's because we don't get much, and because it's so simple. That's what makes it so scary.
And
when you start, like, if there was a scene of like the strangers being like they're having like a little huddle in the shed outside their house, and
pre-game ritual.
Okay, babe. Now, remember last time we tried to stab somebody? You weren't really at that 45-degree angle. We really want to get you in there.
None of that
like
junk.
Or like, you know, you see the strangers growing up and they're like, oh, my dad used to beat me. It's like that doesn't
We don't
matter.
care. We don't care.
Like none of that matters in the context of what this film is supposed to be. And it, you know, it just, I'm just beating a dead horse at this point.
It holds up, and it's good, and it's creepy.
Yeah.
Every time you watch it, you're like, man, that would suck.
Yeah.
Like, that's a rough evening.
I don't want to get stabbed in the tummy.
Yeah.
My tummy hurts.
The tummy stabbing is the worst part.
She grabs the Jehovah's Witness. My tummy hurts.
Tummy.
Oh my God.
Well, we will afterwards have to see what's different about the extended version.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look
because I don't remember that being in the original, but it probably will be since we're putting it out there.
Yeah. No, somebody's in the comments like, you fucking idiots.
You guys clearly didn't memorize the whole film.
But yeah, that was The Strangers.
Strangers was strange.
Yeah.
Strange.
Like if you haven't seen it and we didn't spoil it too much for you, definitely watch. Even if we did spoil it for you, watch this movie. It deserves your attention.
Yeah,
it's very few times where we're like, please go watch this. It's worth the hour and 20 minutes.
If you haven't seen it and you're a horror fan, you'll realize how well they did that many years ago and how poor they did for a 10-year span. We've said this on several episodes. They're starting to get back into some good horror films, and we are here for it. And this is one from an era that was simple, effective, with rewatchability, that we could see ourselves in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say.
Yep. It was great.
We're still every film in the book.
Yeah, and we'll catch you next time.
Next time, when we aren't strangers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're strangers at this point.
Don't be a stranger. Leave us a comment.
No. Just had to do it. Had to do it.
I was wondering when someone's gonna make that
I
fun.
wasn't gonna touch that. I left that one alone on purpose.
Oh my God.
Well, bye.
See ya.
Bye.